Ever heard like a ghost story and thought, wait a minute, where'd that happen? It's weird, right? Some places just seem to hold on to stories better, like especially those creepy ones.
Mm-hmm.
What if you could connect those stories not just by where they happen, but by actual data?
Hmm.
Today, we're doing a deep dive on highway mysteries in Spain.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, where a paranormal guy, Iker Jimenez, uses some pretty different methods to try to figure out why certain roads are magnets for tragedy and the unexplained.
Interesting. You know how data can be kind of cold and impersonal?
Yeah.
Well, this Jimenez guy teamed up with a big data expert named Nicolás Rodríguez to see if there were hidden patterns in highway accidents.
Okay.
Patterns that might connect to some of these local legends.
I love this about Jimenez. He's like Spain's Art Bell or Darren Brown, always pushing the limits. So Jimenez gives Rodriguez this challenge to analyze accident data from Spanish highways, specifically focusing on hit and runs, where the driver takes off.
Right.
He wants him to zero in on Highway 634, but doesn't tell him why this highway is so interesting.
Smart. That way there's no bias, right?
Yeah.
Rodriguez can go in blind and just let the data guide him, not his ideas about ghosts or whatever.
And when Rodriguez analyzes the data from Highway 634, he finds something wild.
What's that?
A huge number of fatal accidents all bunched up around this one spot they call Cuesta de la Pólvora, means slope of the gunpowder. Creepy name, right?
Yeah.
But it gets weirder because this exact location is where people have been seeing a mysterious woman in white for decades.
Now, a woman in white sounds like your typical ghost story, right? The classic sound all over the world. It usually means some tragic loss or betrayal. But here's what's interesting. Rodriguez, our data guy, he stumbles on this connection totally on his own.
It's like the data is saying, hey, there's something more to this story. It's not just a ghost story. It's like a real anomaly linked to real-life tragedies. But to understand what's really going on, we need to go back to 1981.
Okay.
To a creepy encounter that cemented Cuesta de la Pólvora's rep as a seriously haunted place. Picture this. Stormy November night, rain's coming down hard. Lorenzo Abad is driving along Highway 634 with his wife, and they see someone on the side of the road. It's a woman, all in white, just standing there looking soaked and scared.
Man.
I don't know about you, but on a night like that, my first thought wouldn't be to give her a ride.
Yeah, I can see that.
But that's the thing about these stories, right? There's this urge to help, even when something feels off.
It's like you almost have to.
Right. So the Abads, they almost kept driving, but something made them turn around.
Oh, wow.
Lorenzo Abad, he convinces the woman to get in the car, but she's shivering and quiet and just seems out of it.
Creepy.
They try to talk to her, like ask her where she's going, but she's just staring straight ahead.
No way.
Then as they get close to the exact spot where they first saw her, the woman leans forward and whispers, "This is where I died."
Get out of here.
Right. But here's where the data gets interesting.
Okay.
Jimenez. He finds out that Lorenzo Abad filed an actual police report that night.
Wow, so he wasn't just telling a scary story.
No, he was seriously freaked out.
So we've got this strange encounter, a real police report and data that links this spot to a ton of fatal accidents, especially hit and runs.
It all adds up.
Yeah, it's like the data is reflecting the tragedy of the location.
Totally. And this whole idea of places holding on to echoes of past events, it's not just in Spain. Think about battlefields or ancient ruins.
Right, like those places are full of history.
Exactly. All over the world, people tell stories about weird stuff happening in places where lots of people have died.
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
For sure. But let's get back to the data.
Okay.
So Highway 634, that was just the start.
Oh, there's more.
Jimenez and Rodriguez, they kept going looking for the same patterns on other highways in Spain.
Yeah.
One of the craziest examples was on Highway N2.
What happened there?
There was this one stretch with a bad history of accidents. Drivers kept swerving to miss this figure that would just appear in the road.
Whoa.
Locals said it was the ghost of a soldier from the Spanish Civil War.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Spain's seen its share of conflict.
For sure. The Civil War especially left its mark on the country. It's easy to see how that trauma could resurface in weird ways.
Definitely.
But Jimenez, he wasn't just looking at old data. He started hearing from people who knew about his work, people with their own stories about these roads.
It's like he opened the door for them.
Yeah, and they were finally able to share their experiences. One guy was positive he'd seen the ghost of his girlfriend on a highway late one night.
Really?
He said it looked just like her, even the clothes she was wearing when she died.
Man, that's rough.
Now, maybe it was just grief messing with him, but maybe it was something else. We can't say for sure, but it makes you think.
No doubt about that. And here's the kicker. Jimenez and Rodriguez's work got the attention of the Spanish government.
Wait, what? The government? Like, official people? Seriously, the government got involved with this? I thought they weren't into ghost hunting.
Well, no, not really ghosts, but they were definitely interested. They heard about how Rodriguez analyzed those hit and runs and saw a way they could use that.
So they were thinking more about preventing accidents than ghosts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those hit and runs Jimenez had him focus on. Those are tricky. They happen fast. It's hard to figure out what caused them, and that makes them hard to prevent.
So they basically said, forget the woman in white, just tell us where the next accident's going to be.
Pretty much. They brought Rodriguez in to help them figure out how to use data to find those really dangerous spots on the roads.
Wow, so it started with ghost stories and ended up helping to save lives. That's pretty wild.
It really is. And it just goes to show you how data can lead you in unexpected directions.
Yeah, for sure. So where does all this leave us? What's the takeaway?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Like, are these highways actually haunted? Are there some places where it's easier to connect with whatever's on the other side?
It's spooky to think about.
Tell me about it. Makes you think twice about driving late at night.
Right. But then again, maybe there's a simpler explanation.
Like what?
Maybe it's not ghosts. Maybe it's like a memory of something bad that happened, a kind of emotional echo that some people pick up on.
Like we were talking about before with those places all over the world where people have seen and heard things, especially where there's been a lot of death and suffering.
Right. Maybe some places just hold on to those feelings longer than others.
And maybe some people are just more tuned into that energy than others.
Exactly. At the end of the day, I think what Jimenez and Rodriguez did wasn't about proving whether ghosts are real or not. It was about asking interesting questions.
And about looking at things in a new way.
Yeah. And being open to the idea that there are still mysteries out there, even with all the data in the world.
It's like that Carl Sagan quote, somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. Maybe those incredible things are closer than we think.
Hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone to put the pieces together.
And if those pieces lead us down a dark and spooky road, well, that's just part of the adventure, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes the best part of the journey is the questions we ask along the way.